Art museums have long been at least 15 years behind the inflation curve, believing that they continue to enjoy the communicative upper hand, issuing information about collections and programs for an unseen audience, and not expecting to hear anything back. Regardless of how open-minded we consider ourselves to be online, we continue to operate, for the most part, as a one-to-many information source. As early as the 1990s, mid-1990s, art museums began experimenting with the World Wide Web. This is actually the very first page on the web in 1993. We began by placing hours, directions, and collection illustrations alongside text that could link to new online resources. Notwithstanding the enormous changes that have befallen interactive technology since that time, the prevailing model has remained largely one-to-many, with a resistance to soliciting audience response apart from absorption of the information provided. For art museums, increased scrutiny into what had previously been preserves safe from intrusion led to, among other factors, emails from disaffected staff documenting misdeeds which in earlier times would have gone unnoticed and unreported, contributing to the ouster of the heads of two of the largest museum complexes in America, the Smithsonian and the Getty. There's a fine line between gratuitous revelations of embarrassing facts and what has come to be known as transparency. By transparency, most intend not revelations that are by their nature problematic, but the even-handed provision of information, both flattering and not, about institutional performance. It's become a crucible in corporate life, and since the inauguration of President Obama, of the American presidency. Art museums that have begun to embrace transparency on their websites, like the Getty Museum here, with the numbers of visitors recorded on their webpage, and like the museum which I direct, have witnessed a surprising outpouring of curiosity and admiration. But surely, organizational openness should intuitively be the rule for nonprofit educational institutions that have little to gain from organizational secrecy. This evening's talk focuses on how transparency through technology is not simply an option that museums could pursue, but that it's the natural extension of an embrace of the internet, which is becoming the defining communicative medium of society in general, and thus, by definition, museums as well, replacing print publications, paper-based press releases, and the unrecorded spoken word. Unless an announcement, speech, or lecture is videotaped, transcribed, and provided as a fully searchable resource on the internet, it will soon be considered a missed opportunity to reach untold millions who will otherwise never benefit from it. But beyond the simple matter of transparency, which is just the way we must all learn to comport ourselves, we will consider tonight some of the many ways in which museums will be transformed by changes in demographics that in turn fuel a need for new ways of using new technologies. The embrace of technological advances is not an end in itself, just a means to an end. That end is surely transparency, the clear and compelling revelation of a museum's mission, what it does, whom it seeks to serve, how to meet their needs, and how well it is performing in pursuit of that mission. Social computing, like this blog, affords art museums a dramatically different proposition, learning who our public is one person at a time, and then re-aggregating these thousands or millions of individuals into groups through social networking sites like today's Facebook and Twitter, or tomorrow's yet-to-be-invented solutions. The power of this opportunity cannot be underestimated. Social networking, in other words, can take us a long way to learning who we could be serving and what they need, in addition to those who already visit us. And since the vast majority of the world's population is made up of non-visitors, we would do well to learn how a next generation steeped in interactive communications will be making choices of how to spend their leisure time, both in our galleries and in our electronic embrace.